Good morning, everybody. It's your host, Mafer, and I'm glad to be with you today. As every program, we're going to talk about some actual issues that we're facing these days. So I'd like to welcome Ericka Ramirez to the studio today. Ericka has just published an article in New Science Journal about memorization. It's all about how to make our memory function better. Ericka, there are a lot of people tuning into the show today, mostly teenagers. Can you give us some advice on how to improve our memorization skills?
Hello, Mafer. Yes, of course. I like to start by talking about the memorization process. It is vital that we understand the process if we want to make adjustments to the way we function. We all use memory in the same way. It doesn't matter whether you're a student revising for your final exam or an adult standing in the aisle of a supermarket, maybe trying to remember a particular item from your grocery list.
Oh, that's me. I always forget to take my list.
You and thousands of other people too, Muffer. We don't learn how to use our memory even when we are still at university. Young
Hmm.
children are naturally very good at working out how to remember things. The tips I'm going to share today are based on the things we used to do to help us remember when we were children. The process of memorization occurs in two distinct forms. Do you know what they are?
I could be wrong, but it appears that the long-term memory and the short-term memory are they the same thing?
That's right. These terms aren't completely separated concepts. We use a combination of both types of memory when we want to formulate our thoughts and recall information, whether we are trying to remember something from a decade ago or just an hour earlier.
So, what tips do you have to improve the quality of our memory?
Right, let's start with association.
Association?
Yes, Muffer, we can use word association to remember an idea or a concept.
I see. Does this mean that we should choose a word or phrase that we associate with what we're trying to remember?
Of course, in the first place, the word needs to be something familiar that you come into contact with on a daily basis. For example, you can use the name of your pet to remember a scientific equation. Try it. In the second place, you have to read the equation several times and then say the name of your dog over and over again. Later on your scientist test, just remember the name and the entire equation should come back to you.
It sounds too good to be true. Speaking of methods to associate things and be able to remember them, in fact, visualization is another trick that we could use, right?
You are correct. First, you have to visualize an image that is connected to what you need to remember. For example, if you want to remember the date that the Berlin Wall came down, you could visualize a picture of a wall with the date written on it. Then this picture of the wall becomes an important part for you to remember. In fact, you can use multiple images in a row to remember things like information in a text or a list of ingredients for a recipe.
Yes, that makes sense. Tell me, do you think singing helps improve memorization?
Yes, so instead of reading a text aloud, you should sing it because singing is one of the earliest and most effective memory tricks used to learn new concepts.
And did you have to sing aloud in your final exams?
Not aloud, but I used to sing in my head and I always got good grades in my exams.
Any more tips, Erica?
Yes, I have saved the best for last. It is particularly relevant for students who are tuning in for this interview.
I'm not altogether sure, but it appears to me that you want to mean teaching.
Yeah, teach whatever it is that you want to remember, Mother. So if you are studying for an English test, teach the concept to someone else. It can be your sister or maybe your friend or maybe a friend that is studying in a group is ideal. You can also imagine that someone is listening to you as you teach. That reminds me that you can record yourself teaching and then play the video to review the material further.
That sounds like a great tip or trick. This is definitely my favorite trick, and it really works to teach something you need to understand. Teaching reinforces the understanding and memory. And although they sound like tricks, they really not right.
No, they are just simple ways that we can train our brains to be more effective.
In fact, by getting into the habit of using word association, visualization, singing, and teaching, our brain develops and works better for us. And of course, that has an effect on our memory and our abilities to remember all kinds of data. Thank you, Erica, for this interview. It was really interesting.
Thank you, Mafer. Thank you. See you.
Well, in sum, today we have learned a lot about how to improve our memory. I appreciate having you here on the show, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.